Hey, welcome back. Hopefully everyone's having a good day. Hopefully everyone said, yep, I'll just watch one more episode of Netflix, and 2 hours later didn't realize that the videos kept playing. But as always, to start off the video with the joke. So because our topic for the foreseeable future is going to be personal finance, we're going to be talking about taxes today. But as I was trying to come up with a joke, I was just kind of curious if you guys know the difference between monopoly money and U.S. currency. And I'll tell you, one of them has been fought over. It's destroyed friendships. It has ruined families. It has brought world leaders on the brink of war. And the other is U.S. currency. So those of you that have ever played Monopoly and have been on that brink of war, hopefully understand that joke. As always, take a few minutes, take it in, and now we get back to a little bit of taxation. So really the most important thing of our personal finance is going to be starting off and understanding what taxes are and how much money you are going to have to be paying into them. But before we get into that in our second video, I always think it's important to go over really the reason and the purpose behind taxes. I'll go through some myths that some people believe our taxes are all about. But I think it's important that we understand why we pay them and what they are. So the first thing, what is a tax? And I think this is one of the best definitions of taxes. It's a forced payment. And again, a forced payment. You don't have the choice to pay this tax. You could choose not to pay it, but then you end up going to prison. But it's a forced payment made to a governmental unit that is unrelated to the value of goods or services provided by the government. So essentially, it's something that the government forces you to pay. And why is it forced? Well, if it was voluntary, nobody would pay it. I mean, going back throughout history, when we had the Articles of Confederation, all the states got to decide how much money went to the federal government. And if it was up to you to pay a federal tax or keep that money, I am willing to say that all of you, maybe not all of you, probably about 99% of you would say, I am not paying taxes. I want to keep all that money. They think it's government stealing, which, a lot of people are entitled to their opinions. And, the tax brackets that we have currently are a lot lower than they've been throughout U.S. history. But why tax? So this next one here is going to be the objectives of taxation. Really, there's three main goals. So the first one is to raise revenue, redistribute wealth, stabilize prices, foster economic growth, and promote social goals. So what does that mean? Well, government has to pay for things. They have to pay the salaries for everyone that's working for them. Myself, so next time you pay taxes, thank you for my paycheck. They have to raise revenue. They have to provide for a military. A lot of times when people say, I hate paying taxes, I ask, do you feel safe in this country? Well, if you say yes, that's because of how much money we pay in taxes. Think about all the improvements, all the roads, all the schools, all the hospitals. It's helping out farmers with subsidies and revenue. So yeah, we look at it in the small picture, in the small terms, when we say that yes, money was taken out of our paycheck, but what does that money go to? To me, a lot of it goes to good spending that is going to help out the people of the United States. Now, has the government gone and have too much power? Maybe. That's up to you to make that decision. But the reasoning behind taxes is to help pay for different things that the government feels as necessary. Now, the other two ones, they want to make sure that there's equity. And really, essentially, what that's going to boil down to is this going to be equal? And there's two different variations of it. There's horizontal and there's vertical. Horizontal means that everybody in the similar circumstance as you should face the same tax burden. So if you and me make the same amount of money, you and me should be paying the same amount of taxes. It has nothing to do with what your job is. It has everything to do with what your income is. And that's going to be the first one. The second one is vertical. So somebody who makes more money should not only pay more taxes, but also higher percentages of their income tax. So you think about people who are very, very wealthy. Bill Gates creates Microsoft. He should probably pay more money in taxes than myself as a high school history teacher. Donald Trump, our current president. Look at how many millions of dollars he has made as a businessman. Kim Kardashian, whatever she did to make famous. She is making more money than me, a high school history teacher. So vertical equity should say she pays more tax money than me. And do I agree with that? Yeah, I would say so. People who are very wealthy, are they going to agree with that? No, absolutely not. So a lot of this is going to be up to you to determine whether or not it is equal. And this next one here might get a little bit confusing looking at this chart, and the next video I have is going to explain what this chart means. But these are going to be your tax brackets. So when you look at these tax brackets, first thing you got to look at is this top part here. So if you are a single, I'm willing to say that is all of you in this class, unless you got married in the last 2 weeks, or were even out of school. If so, congratulations. Sorry, my card got lost in the mail. But here's is what you have to look at as far as what tax bracket you're going to be in. So horizontal equity. If I'm in this bracket here, say if I make $85,000, all right, a lot of people look at this here and say that, well, I have to pay 22%. That's not entirely true. But what that does mean is someone who makes $85,000 pays the same tax as myself. Think about the most famous athlete in the world right now, LeBron James. He makes more than $518,000. So anything he makes over that $518,000 is automatically taxed at 37%. Now, do me and him have different circumstances? Yes. Is his house bigger than mine? Maybe. Yeah, his house is bigger than mine. He makes more money than me. Therefore, vertical would say that he has to pay more money. Now, where do these come from? Current influence on tax law. Really, there's four major ones. What is our Congress currently made up of? Are they Republicans? Are they Democrats? Are they independents? Who are the lobbyists trying to persuade? Lobbyists, again, meaning individuals that go in and try to persuade Congress to go in and vote in a certain way. Elected representatives, they're trying to satisfy the constituents of their state. Again, nobody ever runs and says, when I get in office, I am going to raise your taxes. That person would get 0 votes. So they try to attempt to satisfy the people of their home state. And then the other one, the economy. If times are going well, taxes might go up. People are making more money. Times are the way they are currently with the coronavirus outbreak. That's when you start talking about stimulus packages. That's when you start talking about lowering tax rates. When the stock market drops, you talk about lowering what the highest tax is going to be. So those are going to be the things that influence taxes. And then to end on a kind of a funny note, some tax myths. Because every year people ask me, is this really true? And these are going to be the top ones that I get from year to year. But the first one, filing your taxes is voluntary. I don't have to file taxes if I don't want to. Well, kind of true. It's voluntary. However, not paying your taxes gets you in prison. That part is not voluntary. So filing your taxes doesn't matter if you're 16 years old or if you're 60 years old, everyone must file their taxes. And I'll say, all of you right now, file your taxes. You know why? You get money back right now. If you don't file your taxes, you're essentially throwing money away, which a lot of people think that's what taxes is, but nonetheless, filing your taxes is not voluntary. The next one, when you get older, and you can potentially have dependents. Now, right now, all your parents, they are able to use you as a dependent. What that means, because you're living under their roof, they get a $2,000 tax credit that they get, you see none of. Now, the idea is that they are using that to help buy things for you and provide food and shelter. But they get $2,000 because of your behalf. So next time your parents yell at you for leaving the lights on, ask them where your $2,000 is. But you can, one thing some people believe is you can actually say a pet is a dependent because you pay for their food. Absolutely not. That one is completely voluntary. The next one, illegal activity is not taxable. Now, hopefully this does not pertain to any of you, but think about Al Capone. And when he was very wealthy and he made a lot of his money illegally with prohibition, he thought, it's illegal, I don't have to pay taxes on it. Wrong. The IRS still is going to hold you accountable to that. And then this last one I already talked about. Students don't have to pay taxes. I don't own any property. I don't own any land. I don't own a vehicle or anything like that, so why should I pay taxes? You have to pay into it. Everybody has to do their part, and it kind of follows that idea of equity, of horizontal and vertical, but just because you're 16, 17, or 18 years old doesn't mean you can say, nope, not filing my taxes. And again, if you're not filing your taxes, you are losing money because all of you are going to be getting money back with your taxes.